Today, we will be looking at the Netflix program, Should I Marry a Murderer? Just imagine it, you've finally met the one. He's charming, he's a successful Scottish farmer, and after a whirlwind romance, he gets down on one knee and asks you to marry him. And you say yes, you're ecstatic. But just weeks later, during a late night drive, his face drops, the romance vanishes, and he utters a sentence that will literally shatter your life, your entire world, forever. I need to tell you something. I killed a man, and I hid the body. This isn't a Hollywood thriller. This is the terrifying reality of Caroline Muirhead, a forensic pathologist who accidentally fell in love with a killer. Today we are diving deep into the massive documentary, Should I Marry a Murderer? And looking at the shocking twists, the police blunders, and the incredible bravery of a woman who had to spy on her own fiancé to bring him to justice. To understand how Caroline ended up in this nightmare, we have to go back to September 2017. 63-year-old Tony Parsons, a beloved grandfather and prostate cancer survivor, set off on a simple charity bicycle ride across the Scottish Highlands. He was raising money for cancer research, but on the night of September 29th, while cycling along the dark, unlit A82 road, Tony completely vanished off the face of the earth. For over 3 years, his family begged for answers. Police launched massive searches, but nothing. There was no bike, no phone signal, no body. It was a complete and total mystery. Until Sandy McKellar met Caroline. Sandy was a deer stalker and farmer. Caroline was a forensic pathologist, someone who literally studies dead bodies for a living. The irony is almost unbelievable. They fell deeply in love, got engaged, and were planning a life together. But guilt is a heavy thing. In November 2020, over 3 years later, Tony Parsons vanished. Sandy broke down. He confessed to Caroline that on that dark night in 2017, he and his brother Robert were driving home from a pub when they were struck Tony with their pickup truck. But instead of calling an ambulance, they panicked, they left Tony to die, drove home, swapped cars, and they went back to the scene. They threw Tony's bike into a river, put his body in the back of the truck, and buried him in a shallow grave on the remote estate used for dumping dead farm animals, aka a kill pit. Now, put yourself in Caroline's shoes. You're a forensic scientist. You respect the law, but this is the man you love. What would you do? Caroline, on this occasion, chose justice. She secretly contacted the police, but because the police didn't have enough physical evidence yet, Caroline had to do something unthinkable. She had to go back to her fiancé, pretend everything was normal, and then continue to spy on him. For weeks, Caroline lived a double life. She wore secret recording devices, she dropped hints to Sandy to get him to talk, and eventually, And he did talk. When she was shown the location, she dropped a Red Bull can at the exact spot on the vast estate where Sandy said the body was hidden, serving as a marker for the police. Because of her, in January 2021, forensic teams dug up the site and finally found Tony Parsons. Sandy and his brother were arrested. Case closed, right? Caroline is a hero. Well, this is where the Netflix doc gets incredibly dark. Caroline reveals that the police treatment of her after the confession was a total disaster. She claims she was pressured, left unprotected, and treated more like a suspect than a traumatized informant. And if you have seen the documentary, you will see just how traumatized this woman is. I am truly happy that she's doing okay now. The stress to her was so severe that the prosecution almost fell apart. Ultimately, Sandy pleaded guilty to culpable homicide and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. His brother got 5 years. Tony Parsons' family finally got the closure they deserved, and Tony was laid to rest. But Caroline's life was completely upended. She lost her career, her safety, and the man she thought she was going to marry. The Netflix documentary Should I Marry a Murderer exposes the terrifying truth that sometimes the monsters we look for on the news are sitting right next to us at the dinner table. What is it that you would have done if you were in Caroline's shoes? Would you have protected the person you loved? Or would you have turned them in? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more true crime deep dives, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you truly for listening, watching, and liking and subscribing.